afternoon. Welcome to the Pit Stop. It's a weekly racing show that looks back at last weekend's racing and ahead to all the action on the track coming up this weekend as well. I'm Stephen McCollum, your host here of this journey here, and I appreciate you joining us as well. Folks, last weekend at Talladega was so much fun, at least in my eyes, around NASCAR. Let's see if you agree with me as well. With the fuel saving issues out there, maybe resolved, or at least partially resolved. We'll talk about that when we talk the Cup Series. Last weekend, IndyCar was off. They're getting into their Indy 500 month here, getting all the testing and everything starting this week. We'll talk about that later in the show. But May 9th is when IndyCar will be back at the Indy Road Course here coming up. But, of course, last weekend, O'Reilly Series, Cup Series, Truck Series was off. Well, they were over at Talladega. All three national series go to Texas Motor Speedway this weekend for NASCAR. Going back to that intermediate track, the 1.5-miler there, which is the bread and butter of NASCAR. You see a lot of speed and a lot of the big boys come back out at that point here. But, let's look back to last weekend, of course, at Dega, as we want to talk about that. And lots of surprises here. So the weekend got off to a fantastic start last weekend. Well, we don't talk about the ARCA series too much here on the program. Pay attention to it. It's fun to watch at certain racetracks. But the ARCA race at Talladega, it set the weekend up with the excitement that happened to win this race. Not just because my favorite driver in terms of personality and everything. Of course, we're talking about Cletus McFarland there. Not because he was in this race. He was there at the end as well. Just a fantastic race, especially the ending. Well, let's go to Fox Sports 1 and the white flag of the ARCA race. This will be ARCA 1.
It's turn 2. Cletus goes to the outside, makes it 3 wide, hangs that 18 car out. He's got 1 car behind him. Meanwhile, this is really helping this bottom lane get clear. And Isabella has a really massive lead with Gus Dean delivering a big push. He'll have a big run all the way to Isabella's back bumper.
Does she have too big a lead, though? That's the key.
Here comes Will Kimmel getting squirrely, but out front in the 69. It's Kimmel with the push.
Look at Gus Dean's going to drop to the bottom. Look at Cletus.
3 wide to
He's
the
got
top.
Andy J.
He's going to have the outside. This whole pack is really separated right now. It's going to take a lot of help for these drivers.
Look. 2 to the bottom, 3 wide into the tri-oval. 3 wide here. Cletus with the 71 coming along the outside. Andy J in the 71 takes the checkered flag.
Wow, what a finish.
To say the least, what a finish there. You saw the movement, everybody going for the win there, the leader out there, cars being pushed from behind, pushing guys down low. That was fantastic, folks, for an ARCA race, especially at the end. And that's how the weekend began there at Talladega as well. Cletus McFarland, remember, he was not approved to race higher than the ARCA race that weekend at Talladega. So he had to just race at ARCA. He wanted to do the O'Reilly Series. NASCAR said, nope, need more practice on the lower series before you go to a track like Talladega. Was there at the finish, and boy, not only did he put on a show, that whole ARCA racing teams there in the front, as you saw, put on a giant show there at Talladega. So we'll have to wait and see when NASCAR will let Cletus move up into the O'Reilly Series on those super speedways and those types of tracks. But good showing there from the ARCA side, proving that he should get an opportunity moving forward on the ARCA side. So that sets the weekend up. Then we go into the O'Reilly Series, Saturday night racing there at Talladega. Well, Talladega gave us just overall here between the O'Reilly Series, where you saw the ARCA Series, but then the O'Reilly Series and the Cup Series. Well, these winners and the races give us new first-time winners. Not just at Talladega, but first time winning in their respective divisions. Well, the race ended the way that I cannot stand, folks. I hate IndyCar when they do this. NASCAR Cup Series, of course, has that overtime format. But under a yellow flag, cautions is when this O'Reilly Series ended. I can't stand it. Just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Well, when it was all said and done, Corey Day claimed his first O'Reilly Series victory of his career. That was the third first-time winner in 11 races this season on the O'Reilly Series. Not just in the O'Reilly Series, the Cup Series, we're seeing some young guys coming up, sticking their head up here and getting some wins. By the way, on the O'Reilly Series, Sheldon Creed, and Solowich also getting in there for first-time winners as well. Corey Day only led the last lap in this race. He was just kind of hovering in the back there, able to get in the front as well. This O'Reilly race saw 38 lead changes, tied for fourth most in the O'Reilly Series history. 4 cautions. Well, that was the fewest since 2022 for a race as well. Here, this was just high stakes. Guys battling it out here, drafting off of each other, racing here in the O'Reilly Series. Well, don't believe me. Let's check in with, of course, the CW, who gives us the O'Reilly races here. Here's the white flag run. O'Reilly won.
Mayor, Day, and Creed fighting for the win. It's going to be all about how can you time the push from behind you for these front 3. You got to get that help from behind. You got to time it perfectly to have the momentum. It's a 17 clear, Shelby Creed.
Corey Day in a perfect position right here. He's going to have Creed behind him, giving him a push. Are these lap down cars going to play a factor? I want all you can give me right now. I don't care how loose I get. Just give me the biggest shove you can.
There goes Mayer. Out of line. If the caution comes out, the race is over. Day is out front.
Gonna have
They
to
continue to crash behind him. Rick Cruz is there. Sheldon Creed is there. No caution yet. There's the yellow.
Wow.
Corey Day out front. His first career victory comes at Talladega Superspeedway. How about that?
Of course, those are 2 lap cars in front of Corey Day as well. Look, and a fantastic race there at the end. You saw, the car getting out of line, as I love when they say that. But then if you're watching there coming out of, I believe that's turn 3, you saw the big wreck happen before him. We'll look at that big one here coming up here in just a minute as well. But Corey Day, he was winning the race regardless of the caution. He was in front. Sheldon Creed, Brent Cruz was not going to catch him, as you saw there before that yellow came out. So the yellow caution and the win didn't change the outcome. I get why they throw it because of the safety behind the drivers with all of those wrecks there. But race does end at yellow as well. Even though the outcome wouldn't have changed, it just creates something a little bit with the yellow winning, the yellow and the win there at the same time as well. Overtime on the Cup Series is a little bit different because you're, battling it out. White flag comes out, you got to end the race sometime. It's just a regular race there. So it kind of just irks me. So you win your first O'Reilly Series race, like Corey Day just did. We check in with you after the race. Of course, this is thanks to the CW. Here's Corey Day, O'Reilly 2.
As hell didn't think it'd be at a super speedway, so it's awesome. The Hendrick legacy is so strong in super speedways, and my 17 guys just built me a rocket ship. So hats off to Adam, Becker, Jordan, Michael, everyone back at the shop that builds these things every week for me. I feel like we've been close, had a good day at Rockingham, and had a couple other good days, and just didn't finish it off. So it's super cool.
All right, walk me through those last couple laps. You were 3 wide at one point. Lots of stuff was going on. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I thought when I got shucked to the middle there with 5 to go, whatever it was, that was it, and I was going to drop. And I had help. I don't know who it was, but thank you, whoever it was. But, yeah, just so cool. I mean, like I said, I did not think it would come at a super speedway. So, yeah, it's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Hendricks, so much for believing in a sprint car kid from California that never ran a pavement car in his life before 2 years ago. So, yeah, thank you, Mr. H. Jeff Andrews, my biggest supporter. Jeff Gordon, just everyone that believes in me. It's so much fun.
You already had a start to the season. You top it off with a win in the first third of 2026. What kind of statement is this about what the 17 is capable of in this year?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's more capable than I am for sure. So glad to just be, proven that it's as good as it is. And like I said, just thanks to all my 17 guys. They bust their butts every week and do such a great job bringing me fast cars to the track. So thank you, HendrickCars.com, Chevrolet, just everyone on the 17 and with Hendrick Motorsports that believes in me. It's a lot of fun.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Corey Day, a winner in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Should let her sign off there for the CW. But I left that whole interview together there because you gave you the nuggets there, right? Never raced pavement racing before 2 years ago. Gets into this. Had some good finishes earlier this year. Had some chances to win at the end. Not able to finish it off here. This is a big leap here for Corey Day. And, of course, on a big team there with Hendrick Motorsports and that 17 car as well for Corey Day. Good young kid. I believe he's 20 years old, if I remember correctly. Look, making strides here in the NASCAR O'Reilly Series, getting his first win there at Talladega as well. Let's throw up the finishing order here of the race at O'Reilly 3. We know Corey Day finished first place here. Brent Cruz, the rookie, there in second place. Sheldon Creed finished in third as well. By the way, Brent Cruz finished that career best runner-up for him officially now. Sheldon Creed in that third spot. Well, he scored third there. It was a photo finish type finish. Him and Brent Cruz were battling it out there. Also, Sheldon Creed, was good enough to claim that $100,000 dash for cash incentive prize for his effort. If you remember, he won it last week also. Second week in a row, he's won that $100,000 cash for the dash as well. Then you got Sammy Smith in that fourth spot. Well, he races for JR Motorsports, Junior Motorsports out there. It was the fourth, basically his top 5 finish here in the fourth spot. It was extending a top 10 streak for Junior Motorsports to 68 races. Second best all time in the O'Reilly Series as well. So at least somebody has finished top 10 for 68 straight races for them. Then in the fifth spot, you got Jeremy Clements. And then you go down here, right? Jesse Love finished 7th. Well, he started on the pole position. He led the most laps here in this race, 37 of them. He was out front late. I thought he had a good chance to win this. Well, he went backwards with about 6 laps remaining. Not able to recover it all to get back in the sway of things coming up as well. So in terms of other big guys, Brandon Jones in 8th. Parker Retzlaff there in 9th as well for him. J.J. Yealy, 11th place finish here for him in his team. Fantastic finish for them. Austin Hill finished 13th. In terms of, like I said, playoff guys and guys we are paying attention to. Here as well, Carson Kvapil, 22nd place. Justin Allgaier, 23rd. Talk about them here in just a minute. Sam Mayer, you saw him get out of line there at the end on that last run. 25th place for him. You got Jeb Burton in 26th as well. William Swalwich, 28th place. Taylor Gray was at last week's winner, 29th there for Taylor Gray as well. Roger Caruth, 30th. Yes, not good finishes here for some of these guys as well. Tyler Ankrum there, 32nd place. To give you an idea where some of these guys finished at. Well, some controversy in this race as well. NASCAR said going into this Talladega race, do not impede the drivers as you're coming out of pit road. What that means is you come out of pit road, you have to get up to speed, stay below the line. Do not go above that line until you're up to speed and able to keep the speed. Do not pull up into the racetrack and slow down the guys coming up behind you. Well, lots of controversy here. Some question marks around it, but Carson Kvapil won stage 1. Justin Allgaier won stage 2, and both in the running here to win this race as well. Well, they both were unable to recover from a mid-race green flag penalty. That is that impeding is what they were called for. So this was in the final stage of racing. They pulled out. NASCAR said they impeded cars that were out on the racetrack coming around those corners. They weren't able to recover from that. I saw Justin Allgaier's comments afterwards on the race saying we didn't impede. They weren't clear on it. They'd said it in driver's instructions and everything. And it also sent the message to the Cup Series on Sunday. Do not impede the cars on the track when you're coming out of pit road. And, so they were punished for it. Cost them, right, as they did that mid-pack finish here for both of those guys here in this racetrack. 22nd for Kvapil, Justin Allgaier 23rd in this race. So controversy just meaning pulled out in front of them. They disagreed a little bit. I saw Allgaier's comments. I saw a lot of people on social media's comments on it as well. But they definitely pulled out a little bit early and made the guys slow down for that impeding side. Hey, let's look at those championship points for O'Reilly as well. O'Reilly 4, Justin Allgaier, even though he had that, finish a little farther down than he'd like, still leading the order here in the championship points. Sheldon Creed with his third place finish there, finished second, or in the second spot in the championship race. Jesse Love there also, third spot here as well. Corey Day making a run up the line here with that win for him, his first O'Reilly Series win, number 4 here in the positioning. Then Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, Carson Kvapil, Austin Hill, Taylor Gray, who, of course, won his first race earlier last week as well, Parker Retzlaff, William Swalwich, and Roger Caruth, all on the inside of the playoff bubble. Now, it's a close here finish, right? Ryan C. can make up those 14 points on the outside first spot. Make those up pretty quickly. Sam Mayer, who you saw spin out at the end of this and spin out, right there, 27 points out. Brent Cruz, the young rookie there in the 15th spot here, 43 points out. And then Brendan Poole there on the 16th spot there on the outside looking in. But Brent Cruz has more runs like he did here. With the second place finish as a rookie, he's going to be in contention and fighting at least for a playoff spot coming up as well. So we showed you the white flag lap, right? And you saw, of course, 41 cars spin out. Get out of line is how they described it on the broadcast. Well, then if you were watching it there, right, as they were coming around out of the turn, you saw some guys behind them kind of get squirrely and start to wreck on that side. That was a big wreck behind them that caused that caution. As they threw that caution there and got eventually the Corey Days win under the caution. Well, let's take a closer look at that here. The broadcast here on the CW went back and looked at it. Look at the carnage on these race cars that happened there, O'Reilly 5.
In victory lane. Look at that run Sammy Smith had on the bottom, helping Brent Cruz. Harrison Burton, the back tires come off the ground. That's a huge flush hit with the outside wall. Oh, Jeff Burton's car destroyed.
Want to be a race car driver, folks?
See, he got into the outside wall a little bit, bogged me down. The separation of success and failure at Talladega Superspeedway is just razor thin, and the frustration. You know you had a chance, and Mayer thought it was taken away. Had the big slide coming off the corner, but he continued.
I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, happens fast there at Talladega. Biggest race course out there in NASCAR circuits. You saw, right? You saw the slant of the car with that huge, ingress there on the front and back stretch there as well. You saw how much the cars get up on their side as they go around. Then you saw the hood just shoot up there. Things change quickly on those big wrecks. But those guys were set up in line to have good finishes. Not able to get it done as those cars were wrecking there, of course, at the end of that race. Texas Motor Speedway is up this weekend here for the O'Reilly Series, all the NASCAR series coming up this weekend. We'll get you up to date on Texas later in the show, as we always do when we look ahead also coming up on the pit stop. Then, of course, after that, we go to Sunday, and you have the Cup Series racing there at Talladega as well. The trend so far, as we saw with ARCA and O'Reilly, the trend, well, it was fast, exciting, close finishes is what was the expectation going into this Cup race as well. Well, the expectations were met, folks. There was a lot of excitement in this race, a big pileup here as well we'll talk about coming up here. But the Cup Series race definitely delivered. Now, the interesting thing about this, they changed basically the areas where you race at in terms of, they went from long to short here in the stages. Before it was short, long. A lot of fuel management happening in previous races. You still got some teams fuel managing here, especially at the beginning of this race. But you also saw a lot of teams going for it a lot more as well at the beginning of this race. There's a nice blend there. It's a good start to get these types of super speedway races back to the excitement that they were several years ago and before that. They're working in the right way there. I thought this was a good impasse as guys, fuel management and the guys going for it. I thought it was exciting from that perspective as well. But here in the Cup Series, this race marks the second time in the last three races a driver has earned his first career victory. We're seeing that in the O'Reilly Series, and we're also seeing it on the Cup Series. The young guys coming up, of course, and getting the win. Well, matching the work of Joe Gibbs Racing and Ty Gibbs there 2 weeks ago at Bristol, Carson Hocever with Spire Motorsports gets his first race win on the Cup Series here there in Alabama. So, well, how exciting was this finish? Well, let's look at it here. White flag laps, Cup 1, please.
Guys on the bottom aren't really connected, but that 3 car is going to get to the back bumper of the 48.
The 9's going to create another situation, but it's outside. He's coming on him.
Long ways to the start-finish line still.
Hocevar edging up on the bottom. They're 3 wide. Priest, contact, 4 cars into the wall. Leaders coming to the line. Number 13, first-time winner, Carson Hocevar.
Of course, guys behind him wrecking out, spinning out as well on the finish. Now, a little bit less excitement here with this win because of that big wreck we'll talk about here coming up as well. But just Talladega to push to win it. It's a special race to win. Look at that. Carson Hocevar getting that out there as well. Now, the other thing about Carson Hocevar, if you don't know him at all or haven't seen him before, well, first of all, he's definitely a unique personality on the deal. Anytime with his personality, it shines, folks, when his personality is allowed to be shown. He's known as a hard driver. He will wreck you to get the win or get to some advantage over you. He's very stubborn in those aspects. He's always laughing. He's always has a smile on his face out there and has a good old time out there. It's fun to watch him. Now we get to see the victory. You want evidence, though, of his personality and what he does? Well, here's his burnout lap. Cup 2.
How about this? Remember at Richmond one year when Earnhardt's windshield got all covered and he sat on the windowsill, drove the car, and wiped the windshield. Larry, you remember that?
That's a moment. That's cool.
Sat there just about like this during the race, under caution. Climbed back in the seat, put the belts back on, got back to racing because he didn't want to make a pit stop and go to the back. Well, this beats all.
Giving his tribute to the fans. Sitting outside, folks, there's nobody else driving that thing. He's just controlling that as he goes down there. Eventually here, he puts it up against the wall and, does a little mini burnout there against the wall as well. Something you've never seen before in NASCAR. You heard them talking about some other incidences, some different situation. Carson Hocevar is good for this sport, both on the track with his abrasiveness, I guess we can say, and his aggressiveness on the track. As I said, Carson Hocevar to me is what Ross Chastain was early in his career. Now, Ross Chastain has settled down a lot over the last few years, hasn't won as much as well. Hopefully, Carson Hocevar can keep that edge here as he continues on in his NASCAR career with Spire Motorsports and not kind of hit the wall there like Ross Chastain has as well going on. Look, you win your first NASCAR Cup race. I watched this whole press conference. Like I said, this is a different personality, not as he's still buttoned down. He's still professional, but he also shows a lot of emotion out there. Well, you win your first race. We, of course, go to you after the race. Here it is from Fox. Here's Carson after the race, Cup 3.
I'm so thankful. This is the biggest dream I've ever thought of. Thank you, everybody. I couldn't have done it in any better way. Hopefully my grandpa's watching. My grandma died last year, so I'm so thankful that I can give my grandpa a trophy now and wish my parents were here. But all thanks to Jeff Dickerson. We rode the dead day today, that's for sure. And, I got to wear some heat waves. Everybody's here. I mean, just unbelievable. I'm just so thankful. Thank you.
I mean, you just see the raw emotion on these young guys' faces as they win, either on the O'Reilly Series or the Cup Series. Ty Gibbs, right? His first win on the Cup Series a couple of weeks ago at Bristol. Just the emotion these guys ride here with these wins. And we're seeing a youth movement right now in NASCAR, especially, not necessarily overall, but we're seeing them kind of, as I use the phrase, pop up their heads a little bit and show they're on their way to a lot of these aging veterans out there. But Carson Hocevar did lead 19 of the final 37 laps. He held off the field on 3 late start restarts as well. Going forward, 16 leaders, 52 lead changes on Sunday at Talladega. Christopher Bell, by the way, led the race with a race high 31 laps. He ended up finishing 17th in this race, all due to wrecks and damage to the cars as well. Ryan Preece, who's with RFK Racing. Ross Chastain, well, they won the 2-stage winners here as well. Speaking of Ross Chastain as well. Going back here before we get to the finish line and stuff like that, well, the big one happened here earlier in this race. It was a fantastic race, knocked out a lot of big-time drivers, a lot of guys with expectations to win. Bubba Wallace is in the lead here in this race. At this time, let's check in with the big wreck. Here's Cup 4.
Through turns 1 and 2 and all the way down the back. Thrown away, and Wallace is in the wall right after contact.
Right in front of the pack. Blaney's around. Logano's around. They're all wrecking. This is the big one. That's the whole field.
4 cars were in front of that crash. 1 car, McDowell, was behind it.
I mean, there's only 4 cars that are not in this crash.
Red flag, 10-minute red flag after that, by the way, to get the cleanup. And they're not kidding you. 26 cars involved in that. A lot of them were able to get repairs done, get back out on the racetrack, but tons of damage. Guys like Ty Gibbs got back on the racetrack, but had so much front-end damage, ends up blowing a tire. I think it was lap 122 is what I think it was, 124 in that range. Ends up crashing into the wall, being out of the race. And you don't get the aerodynamic side of it with all the damage to your car as well. So even if you were able to go back out, well, your dreams of winning this race kind of down by the wayside as well. Lots of big-name drivers knocked out in that wreck as well, right? William Byron was eventually knocked out of here as well. But Bubba Wallace leading that, of course, getting knocked out. Ryan Blaney, his teammate, Joey Logano, out of the race as well. Kyle Larson and Cole Custer all knocked out. Definitely didn't make it back after that wreck. And then, of course, the guys that did doesn't necessarily mean that you were able to finish the way, like Ty Gibbs. Even then, some of the guys finished out. Michael McDowell, Brad Keselowski as well. Chase Briscoe, able to get back out there and run, just not efficiently after that 26 wreck there in that lap 115 as well. So 10-minute red flag stoppage as well. So they had to clean everything up, see who's able to get back to the pits, etc. All of that happened, and then eventually Carson Hocefer gets that win. Let's look at the finishing order here at Talladega. Cup 5, please, as well. Carson Hocefer got his first win. Chris Buescher, speaking of RFK, finished second here as well. Alex Bowman, big for Alex Bowman here. His best finish, of course, missed several races here due to some vertigo issues, etc. in his 48 car. Finished third here. Fantastic finish for him. Chase Elliott gets fourth. Zane Smith in fifth, right? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in sixth. Ross Chastain in seventh. Austin Cedric in eighth. Noah Gragson in ninth. Kyle Busch gets a top 10 finish. Number 10. We had some news around Kyle Busch coming up as well. And look, a lot of guys that you don't expect to be here in this top 10. And then you got, guys like you expect to be there. Tyler Reddick, finishing 14th in this racetrack as well. Had lots of problems today after the wreck, but definitely before as well. Tyler Reddick, who had high hopes, right? He's won a lot this year. Finished in 14th spot. Denny Hamlin in 15th in his number 11 car. We already told you Christopher Bell 17th as well. SVG, 20th finish here for him. His car was damaged in that 26 car pileup. Able to get that top 20 finish for him as well. There. So we told you, it's kind of not shocking that those big reps happen. And it's all because early in the race, previously on super speedways, you got a lot of the fuel savings happening around the racetrack at that time. You saw some guys early going for it. You saw some guys still employing the thing. I thought it brought a little bit of excitement, especially toward the end of this race. Even with that 26-mile pileup, which can be spectacular to see. But, again, a lot of favorites knocked out. I saw a couple people, I was watching it. For some reason, I can't get Fox when I'm not at home. I got my phone. So I wasn't able to watch it. I was monitoring on the social medias and things to that effect. And I saw several people. One guy said, hey, I've been at work all day. Where's it? He starts naming drivers all knocked out at that 115th lap wreck there as well. Caution flags at 6 for 30 yards here in this. Tons of lead changes, as I said, 52 among 16 drivers in terms of the races there as well. So fantastic racing there. And next up, we go back to the intermediate racetrack. As we've told you, Texas Motor Speedway coming up this weekend. So when we come back, well, here at the Pit Stop, we'll discuss what IndyCar's up to on their couple-week break before their May 9th race at Indianapolis Road Course. We'll also look ahead at Texas Motor Speedway, all 3 NASCAR series this weekend, plus news around the sport, some big news breaking over the weekend in terms of leadership around NASCAR. We'll talk about that. Come on back. It's the Pit Stop. The Pit Stop, a weekly show where we look back at the racing around IndyCar and NASCAR, and of course, forward, I should say, here to this weekend's racing as well. Don't forget, follow us on X out there, the Pit Stop Talk. Just search for that, pops right up for you. Follow us, interact with us there as well. Of course, you can watch the show here, Robat TV on demand. Usually we do the show on Wednesday. This week, coming to you on Tuesday. Well, simply because, unfortunately, our schedules got some graduations coming up and some schedules getting a little bit messed up. Normally we come out for you on Wednesdays, robattv.com with your subscription. On YouTube, it's our production company there on YouTube as well, TME Media AZ, where you can find all of the programming we do. Don't forget to follow us on X as well, TME Media AZ. Well, that's our parent company here for our production company for all of our programming. But you can also find all of our programming, including The Real Matrix, which comes out on Fridays with the Angry Patriot. You can find that at Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media, where you can find it on there as well. Or if you follow TME Media AZ on X, well, it'll point you in the right direction there as well with links. We put those out every a week or so as well for you. Of course, you can also catch us here on the Pit Stop, your favorite podcast system. Just search the Pit Stop with Steven. Search the Pit Stop Talk, and both will come up for you there. You can listen to it for those of you who'd rather listen in podcast form as well. Of course, all of our programming's out there on the YouTube and Rumble sites as well. So come and join us. Don't forget to follow and like and subscribe them as well, and see when we're live with programming, etc. Well, let's get back to the racing talk here. Let's delve into the news though of the week here before we look ahead to Texas Motor Speedway. NASCAR announced earlier this week or beginning of the weekend, kind of the news started to break. Pivotal leadership changes are coming up. Not only that, first time a France hasn't been in charge in a long time. Of course, the France family started NASCAR and been in charge for a long time here. Board of Directors decided they're going to name Steve O'Donnell as Chief Executive Officer, CEO of NASCAR. Ben Kennedy is going to be Chief Operating Officer effective immediately. Going to position the sport for its next phase of growth and innovation. And it's, as I said, not a delay in this at all. France steps down, Steve O'Donnell in immediately. O'Donnell does become the first non-France family member to serve as CEO in NASCAR's 78-year history. Always family-owned, always been controlled by the France family. Well, Steve O'Donnell assumes all strategic and operational leadership for NASCAR, its affiliated racing series, and also businesses. Well, Mr. Kennedy, well, in his expanded role now as Chief Operating Officer, he'll oversee several core business functions, things like the addition of NASCAR's competition department, also alongside his current leadership of track and event operations that he already does, racing innovations, hospitality, venue strategies for the racetrack. Yeah, Jim France, well, he served as NASCAR chairman and CEO ever since 2018, and he's the one that stepped down in this role. He's also kind of oversaw the decade there of innovation and steady growth within NASCAR. Some controversy with that 2311 Front Row Motorsports lawsuit as well that came out. Well, he is going to remain chairman of NASCAR's board of directors moving forward. Lisa France Kennedy, well, she continues as executive vice chair of the board. NASCAR's board of directors does remain unchanged, just the CEO, CF roles changing here as well. And folks, I cannot reiterate enough how big of a change this is. The France family has held on to control of NASCAR in its grips for 78 years. Through controversy, through non-controversies, through growth, through retraction in the industry, passing it over here. Obviously still involved on the board of directors, but moving it and allowing, I can't say fresh blood because Steve O'Donnell's been around for a long time as well, but getting it out of the family armed circles here as well. Lots of rumors of the France family wanting to sell the entity of NASCAR over the last several years. This could be the first step here over, that could possibly be happening coming up. Hey, other news around NASCAR, interviewed by Josh Sims on Fox Race Day. I was just sitting there watching the pre-race, before Talladega's race. Well, Tyler Reddick announced that he has signed a contract extension with 2311. We knew they were negotiating it. Of course, with his 5 wins this year, it's a no-brainer move as well. Well, let's watch that Fox interview. Let's go to Fox here, Race Day, pre-race, and look at this interview. News 1.
Tyler Reddick, your points leader, fresh off that 5th win of the season, and coming back to a place you won before here at Talladega. What's it going to take to get it done here again today?
Yeah, I think, just good strategy all day long, with the different stage lengths today. It's going to be something new that all the teams, organizations are going to be trying to figure out on the fly. So hopefully, we have a really good idea what we need to do and we can execute it well. I think if we do that, we'll find ourselves towards the front at the end.
It's been a great start to the season for you, and word on the streets is there's some good news between you and 2311 to announce as well.
Yeah, no, we got the deal done. I'm going to be continuing my future here at 2311. Excited to have that all done and be able to continue building on what we've done. So just really glad that, myself and 2311 were able to get to a good place and get the deal done. So I'll be here for hopefully a long time.
There's something to say about the clutch gene in sports. Your team owner, co-owner, Michael Jordan, knows about that. And when you look at 5 of your last 7 wins have come with passes in the last 2 laps, what allows you to execute when it's most important in a race?
Man, I just think, we've done a really good job of staying in the mix. When we've had little things pop up for us this time around, we've done a good job of keeping the balance close. Just being there, being close to be able to close the deal. I've been able to do it a couple times at Kansas over the years, and just a good strong team and a good strong mindset and believing in each other really allows us to just elevate to the next level.
Tyler Reddick will lead the field to green here today at Talladega, guys.
Right. There you go. The big news, obviously. Announced his contract extension is all done for Tyler Reddick. You knew it was coming. The hang-up obviously being, charter team, not charter team. Lawsuit gets solved. Wins this year. Boom, right back in there. Didn't say the length. He just said hopefully a long time. I haven't seen any rumors on that, but it's going to be a multi-year extension here for Tyler Reddick moving forward as well. Last bit of news here around NASCAR racing. Well, we know the number 8 team there of Kyle Busch with RCR Racing, Richard Childress Racing, has been struggling the last couple of years. A lot of talk over the last couple of weeks, right, with the Actions Detrimental podcast with Denny Hamlin, talking about, Kyle Busch's struggles out there. Kyle Busch last week kind of responding and saying, he doesn't appreciate those comments and blah, 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 blah. Well, there's no doubt Kyle Busch has been struggling in racing, and they've been trying to figure it out for a while. Well, they're trying something else here. And another move here for the number 8 team. Andy Street is going to assume crew chief responsibilities for that number 8 car, working alongside Kyle Busch for the remainder of the 2026 season. Jim Pullman wasn't there very long. Well, he's transitioning into a leadership role with RCR's competition department. Richard Childress said, the move is about putting our people in the best position to succeed. We have strong talent across this organization, and we're focused on having each person in the right position to help deliver the results we expect, unquote. The interesting thing about this move, again, is when you start to get several different crew chiefs, etc., and guys on your pit crew, is it the driver? Is it the pit crew? And is the crew chief? Obviously, it's easier to replace a crew chief or a pit person over a named driver, especially a well-respected and winning driver in Kyle Busch. But is he just too rough on these guys and blaming them for a lot of stuff, or they just get drowned out and want to move on with their lives? Something to keep an eye on here with the frustrations continue to mount there for the number 8 Kyle Busch team as well. Now, with all the news out of the way, and I can't stress enough, folks, that move for NASCAR, where new CEO and Steve O'Donnell, is a game-changing move here by NASCAR on its future and where it's headed. I can't wait to see what Steve O'Donnell pushes it toward. I'm assuming it's going to be good, but we'll have to go along this journey with them as well. But with all that being said, let's look ahead to this week's incoming racing and activities on the racetrack. And the first one we got to talk about, IndyCar doesn't have a race this weekend. They're off until May 9th there, as I said. Indy Road Course coming your way, but it's Indianapolis 500 week month coming up with May. And because of that, well, teams and drivers are all going to start getting busy here starting this week. Yes, Indy 500 test sessions are going to begin this week. Rookies begin testing on Tuesday. Veterans get into the testing, later on Tuesday and into the rest of the week as well. You guys get out on the track, see how their cars run. Of course, a lot of open teams try to qualify for the Indy 500. All of that starting here this week coming up for Indy cars. Obviously, next weekend, next week's show, we'll be talking about racing coming up. They're on the road course, and then, of course, we get into Carb Week and Carb Day and all of the festivities around the Indy 500 coming up at the end of this month. And then the NASCAR Series, they're all headed to Texas Motor Speedways this weekend. Truck Series returns to action after a couple weeks off as well. If you're not familiar with Texas Motor Speedway, mile-and-a-half oval, the bread and butter of NASCAR. I love these racetracks. I think they should race all mile-and-a-halves, in my opinion. That's not necessarily true. Tracks like Talladega, Bristol, all should be part of it as well. But the 1.5 milers, well, it brings out the speed of these race cars. It brings out the drivers to qualify on it. You don't get a lot of surprises around the 1.5-mile racetracks like you do at Talladega or Bristol with Ty Gibbs winning, with Carson Hocevar winning yesterday, Corey Day winning at Talladega in the O'Reilly Series. Less surprises happen here on these 1.5-mile tracks, and I like them a lot. Texas Motor Speedway has had its problems over the years, where it's some fun racing years ago. Then they started messing with the track, putting down some elements onto it and slowing down the race, limiting passing, etc. Well, it might be back here with last year's racing. We'll have to see if it continues going into this weekend as well. But the Truck Series comebacks on this racetrack. When there's a couple of weeks off for the Truck Series and things, you got to kind of question how that off time is going to lead into racing coming up. Practice and qualifying, well, that'll be our first idea of what's happening here with these truck guys as they get back on the racetrack. Well, this Friday, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. here in Phoenix or on the West Coast. We, of course, record this show here in Phoenix as well. Then the race is Friday night. Night race here for the Truck Series, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. here on the West Coast. Of course, FS1 brings us the Truck Series race coming up. Now, some big boys from the Cup Series coming down into the truck race, and one of them's an overwhelming favorite going into this race, and he is right as he should be. We just got done talking about him and getting a new crew chief there in the Cup Series. Well, Kyle Busch is running in the truck race this weekend in Texas Speedway Friday night. He's going to be running for Spire Motorsports and their truck team. He's a huge favorite to win. I think I saw a plus 250 up there as well. Well, it shouldn't be a surprise. He's the winningest driver in the Truck Series history. We generally here on this program don't pick the overwhelming favorite that comes down from another series, specifically Cup to Truck. They generally win these races. So we're just going to assume Kyle Busch is going to win. But what I want to pay attention to and what we do, let's talk about the Truck Series driver and the best one that'll win here as well, right? You have all these typical guys, Gio Ruggiero in this race. Can he get up there and get a win? I picked this gentleman that I'm going to pick a couple times here. He's fantastic on the 1.5-milers. I think he's going to be fantastic here this weekend as well. I'm going Ty Majeski this weekend, going to get the win here in the Truck Series. And like I said, if he doesn't win it, he'll be the top Truck Series professional all-series driver to win, because Kyle Busch is winning this race and most likely trajectory here this weekend. Ty Majeski is who I'm going with on the Truck Series. There's nothing to tell you about the Texas Motor Speedway racetrack other than, are they going to put agents down on the track? We'll see. Are we going to open up lanes on this track to where guys are going to want to stay at the bottom for racing? We'll see. But this is your typical 1.5-mile racetrack, similar to Kansas, where we saw just a couple weeks ago. In Las Vegas, going to be speed. Some green flag pit stops are going to come into play here as well, depending on accidents. A lot of green laps this weekend. Will there be a ton of passing? Well, we'll have to wait and see on that. I'm not protecting a ton of passing this weekend. It's all about qualifying, get in the front, pit crew not doing some dastardly thing to get up there and win these races. Ty Majeski in the Truck Series. Then the O'Reilly Series practice also on Friday, 5 to 5:50 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's 2 to 2:50 p.m. over here on the West Coast. Well, qualifying also Friday night, 6:05 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, that means 3:05 to 4 p.m. here on the West Coast for the O'Reilly Series as well. This qualifying here for Texas Motor Speedway, well, you need to be in the front here with your fast car. You need to show speed in practice and qualifying, and you need to qualify in the front of this racetrack to be up front and maintain the front here throughout this race as well. Texas Motor Speedway, the O'Reilly race is Saturday coming up this weekend, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so 12:30 out here on the West Coast. It's on the CW, always on the CW. And the CW broadcasting has gotten so much better this year. I believe so. I love using their clips. I love watching their clips and watching the races there on their programs as well. So what's going to happen here in the O'Reilly Series? Well, you got a couple seasoned veterans coming down into the O'Reilly Series from the Cup Series. One of them dominated this O'Reilly Series last year, and that's Connor Zillage coming down from the Cup Series. The other one, Kyle Larson, defending race champion, kind of like he was at Kansas, where he wasn't able to get the win there. He got the win in the O'Reillys, not able to get the Cup Series win. Well, Kyle Larson coming down to the O'Reilly Series as well. And, well, he's the defending race champion here. These two are going to dominate this race, I have a feeling. Now, Connor Zillage in the O'Reilly Series, with his experience on the Cup side, even though it hasn't gone well for him on the Cup side, he hang on and outlast Kyle Larson, who I'm not going to, we'll see my pick here, but Kyle Larson will be in this at the end as well. Both are really fast here in the O'Reilly Series and are huge favorites going into it as well. Now, what about the other guys, right? We don't pick those overwhelming favorites. I'm going to pick one of them here to come up between those two. But don't forget, Corey Day is coming off the victory at Talladega. How's his follow-up race coming up here? He'll have the speed. Can he get there at the end? Other racetracks this year, Corey Day's been there at the end. Can he, now that he's got the win under his belt, can he keep pushing? Junior Motorsports, obviously, him and his teammates, they're always fast. They have top 10 finishes, 68 in a row now, but they're always there at the end. Guys are competing for wins on these 1.5-mile tracks. Specifically, their leader, the guy in the front most of the time, Justin Allgaier. Expect him to be in the front of this racetrack as well. But all of those Junior Motorsports guys are going to be fast this weekend. What about Jesse Love? Does that speed that he has make him into a contender this weekend? I think so. Absolutely. So here's what I think is going to happen in the overall race. And like I said, we don't pick here on this program the overwhelming favorite guys that come down from another series. But the Connor Zilic, Kyle Larson version of this, I think is going to be fascinating to watch. Connor Zilic, I believe, is going to run this race. He's going to hold off Kyle Larson as the race goes on, and he's going to win the O'Reilly race here in terms of overall racing wins. Connor Zilic is going to get that bug. He's going to get that winner's circle and kind of hopefully motivate him here a little bit in the Cup side to get better performances from that side. Kyle Larson is going to lose a tough one there to the young driver as well. So in terms of non-Cup drivers winning this weekend, I want to go Jesse Love this weekend. I do. He's my guy that I think is going to be up there and do it. And just Justin Allgaier is running at an all unbelievable pace right now. Justin Allgaier, if he's not winning these races, he's up there in the top 3 or 4. So if Connor Zilic and Kyle Larson are up there battling it out for the win, Justin Allgaier is going to be right there with them, especially right behind them as well. I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier as being the top finishing non-Cup driver, meaning the O'Reilly Series drivers, coming up at Texas. Jesse Love is somebody to watch here coming up. Sheldon Creed will be there as well. Just don't think they can push into that side. Corey Day is going to be an interesting watch, as I said. First win, as they come out this weekend, a little, let's say, jazzed up after the win, expecting that, pushes a little too hard. That's what I'm more worried about for Corey Day for this race here at Texas coming up this weekend. Then, of course, the Cup Series gets underway. Practice and qualifying for the Cup Series is on Saturday, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All the Cup Series practice and qualifying is on Amazon Prime here throughout the year. But it's also going to be Sunday morning, 9:30 to 11:30 for those of us here in the West Coast as well. This race for the Cup guys at Texas, well, Sunday, it's going to be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So 12:30 out here in the West Coast on FS1. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the Fox Sports portion of these racetracks. Of course, leading up into the Coca-Cola 600 is when it switches over to Amazon Prime, if I remember correctly. So we're getting there as well coming up at Fox Sports FS1 here this weekend for the Cup Series on terms of the actual Cup race coming up here. Look, it's a 1.5 mile racetrack. The standard people are going to be in charge this weekend. It's very simple, right? Hendrick Motorsports. You just saw the 48 car of Alex Bowman coming off of that injury, coming out here, finishing third at Talladega. Does that give him confidence to get into the stable here and compete for a race win at Texas Motor Speedway? We know Chase Elliott's going to run well this weekend, but he doesn't always win. He doesn't win very often. He's already got to win this year. Does that propel him into that is kind of the question that we got here for Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson's going to be in this race at the end and be competing for a victory. Absolutely 100% yes. You got Joe Gibbs racing in the Toyotas, the RFKs, the Fords, Team Penske. Sorry, Joey Logano. Sorry, Ryan Blaney. So be competitive. I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete here at Texas. They'll have good finishes. They're not going to be there at the end here on this 1.5 mile track. RFK, though, Chris Buescher, well, he could be up there at the end of this race as well. Spire Motorsports, Carson Hocefer coming off of his big win. And that propel him to be up here at the end of this race as well. But he can do a couple of things here, right, to get up into that front side. Joe Gibbs race. Denny Hamlin's always competing in these 1.5 mile tracks. You expect him and his number 11 to be there as well. Does Ty Gibbs, after his win at Bristol, that give him some confidence? It doesn't. It doesn't at all. Tyler Reddick with his 5 wins this year to get back up there in the front, possibly win this 1.5 mile track. He's going to be in the conversation, folks. What about his teammate, Bubba Wallace? Up until that wreck there at Talladega, which knocked him out of that race, he has had fantastic runs this year. Just hasn't gotten the win to complete it out there. Bubba Wallace going to be up there pushing for a win this weekend? No. Bubba Wallace can be up in the front for a lot of the race, and then something always happens to him where he falls out and moves back in that type of a situation as well. Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, I'm going to put has a chance to win this race as well. Coming up for him, something to pay attention to from that side. Brad Keselowski, no, not going to be up there. Might be able to compete for a little bit. Not going to be there as well. Bubba Wallace is somebody to look at too this weekend as well. I want to see how SVG rebounds from last weekend there at Talladega. He's had some good oval runs this year. Needs to continue having it. He's not going to have the speed to compete to win, but can he get a top 10 finish coming up this weekend as well for him? Tyler Reddick has a really good chance to win this. I'm going to push Tyler Reddick off to the side here, to be honest with you, and not look at that as we, I don't like to pick, obviously, the main guys from that perspective. Can we throw up, if you still have it, Kobe, can we throw up Cup 6? That's the point standings here for the Cup Series. I don't know if you still have that available. Well, here's what we got, right? Tyler Reddick leading the chase with all of his wins. Denny Hamlin second, Ryan Blaney third, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs with his win propelled up there. Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, Carson Hocevar, Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece, Daniel Suarez, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric. Look at that, Shane Van Gisbergen in 19th, outside looking in. Why do I want to show you this and talk about it here as this day goes on, as we're looking forward to this weekend's racing? The winner of this race is coming from the top 10 here in this group. I think it's time for Christopher Bell to come out here with his speed and Joe Gibbs Racing and show what he can do. What he showed at the beginning of last year. Put it together. Get up there, Christopher Bell, and get the win here at Texas Motor Speedway. Kind of a different type of track as well going into this for him. So I'm going to go Christopher Bell this weekend as well. And make a big jump here in the championship standings here when it's all said and done on the Cup Series as well. And folks, big racing weekend here coming up. Of course, headed towards May, which is Indy 500 month, where we're going to see some road course racing. We're going to see some practice. I have, some Tuesdays, some guys, the rookies are out early Tuesday morning on the Indy 500 track getting their time in. I like watching the practices, the speeds they go around on these racetracks and everything. It's going to be fun getting ready for that Indianapolis 500 and IndyCar coming back with our road course next week as well. By the way, Alex Bowman, I don't know if we can sleep on him. He's going to be kind of like a wild card this weekend. He first top 5 finish last weekend at Talladega since last August. Yeah, for Alex Bowman in the 48 car. I'm not saying he's going to be in this to win it, but it is somebody I'm going to be watching to see how he's running here on the 1.5 mile track coming up this weekend. So I'm going to keep an eye on him as well coming up. It's going to be a fun week of racing at Texas Motor Speedway. Entertaining races last year after some duds there at Texas. Expecting some more entertainment coming up this weekend. Of course, next week we'll be back here at the pit stop. We'll look back at Texas and ahead to a racing moving forward with the IndyCar race and where NASCAR goes after that. Come and join us next week, folks, here on the Pit Stop. Share us with your friends. TME Media AZ on your favorite, on your YouTube, the Pit Stop Talk, or of course also on Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media. Follow us at the Pit Stop Talk on X as well, folks. Share us with your friends if you would. We'll talk to you soon. It's the Pit Stop. Let's go racing.